Next, we have Robert Davis from AFSCME Ohio Council 8. Thank you, Robert.
Thank you. Morning, everyone. My name is Robert Davis. Mariah said I'm the Political and Legislative Director with the AFSCME Ohio Council 8, headquartered here in Columbus. We have faced a lot of the ALEC agenda over at the State House, beginning with Senate Bill 5. Senate Bill 5, as most of you probably know, was the anti-worker, anti-public worker piece of legislation that was passed through the legislature last year. We were able to have petitions signed to get that placed on the ballot last year as issue 2, and I believe we sent a strong message not only to folks over at the State House, but also people across the country, because had we failed on issue 2, I believe you would have seen legislation like Senate Bill 5 passed throughout the nation. You see anti-worker legislation in Indiana. You've seen it down in the southern states. So I believe if a place like Ohio was able to keep that as law, it would have been pretty bad. The previous speaker spoke a little bit about ALEC and the Koch brothers and their greed agenda. You know, and that kind of reminds me of a story I heard, I think it was back in high school, maybe even college, about John D. Rockefeller when they were breaking up Standard Oil monopoly. And someone came to John D. Rockefeller and said, Mr. Rockefeller, you are the first world's billionaire. Exactly how much money do you need? And John D. looked around for a minute and said, just a little bit more. And I believe that's where the Koch brothers are. They have gotten to a point where they want to have their hands in everything. They want to be able to control business. They want to be able to control education. They want to be able to control government. And so I don't know if this is a good point to read the letter, but I want to read a letter that we are going to deliver to Governor John Kasich today, a copy of which you see right here. Dear Governor Kasich, we write to you as Ohioans and Americans who want to stop the billionaire Koch brothers and other special interests from destroying the American dream. Charles and David Koch have pledged to spend $400 million this year alone to pursue their radical agenda, which includes restricting voting rights, privatizing our schools and fire departments, privatizing Social Security and Medicare, and eliminating benefits for veterans in the military. Meanwhile, they support policies that give enormous tax breaks to the mega billionaires like themselves. That is why we are asking you to denounce the greed agenda of the Koch brothers and their special interest friends, and why we'll be visiting the state capitol to ask you in person. We're concerned that the Kasich administration cooperates too closely with the Koch brothers and the front groups they fund. It was the Koch brothers, through their Americans for Prosperity group, who carried water on your union-busting Senate Bill 5 bill, holding town hall meetings and organizing phone banks defending the bill. You've also worked closely with the Koch-funded American Legislative Exchange Council, known as ALEC. Enough so that ALEC's website calls you someone who, as an aide to the group's longest-serving national chairman, helped mold ALEC in its formative years. As governor, you've supported the ALEC agenda, signing bills similar to ALEC's bills weakening consumer rights, providing funds for for-profit charter schools, and requiring employers to conduct e-verify background checks on prospective employees. And like ALEC, you've backed the outsourcing and privatization of everything from Ohio's prisons to the Ohio Turnpike. We understand that the Kochs have been good to you. In addition to their kind words, they have contributed at least $22,000 to you personally and $34,000 to the Ohio Republican Party committees. But it's not too late to change course and to work for a vision that benefits all Americans. On Friday, October 5th, today, you can stand with working families and middle-class Ohioans by joining us, condemning and working to stop the Koch brothers' greed agenda. Will you join us? So this is a letter that we're going to be delivering to the governor today, asking him to stand up for working families here in Ohio, stop supporting the agenda of individuals like the Koch brothers, and make sure that he works for all the working families here in the state. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. We've heard about the Koch brothers trying to take things away from our working families, our seniors, our regular everyday Americans, and now we're going to hear sort of about morality. I'm going to introduce you to Reverend Joel King Jr. from Union Grove Baptist Church, where he is the social minister. Reverend King.
Thank you, and good morning to all that's present today, and we thank you for the opportunity to join you here on this grand occasion to stop what we see is a dream coming to a nightmare here in this country and in this nation. Thank you, Brother Davis, for that letter that you're about ready to send our governor, but I hope all of us will sign on that letter and write our own personal letters, not only to the governor, but to our entire state legislative body, both Republicans and Democrats, and Independents, and Green parties, all of them, and let you know that you are a citizen of this state, and that we're just tired of being ripped off, ripped over, run over as citizens of this country. I serve also as the Vice Chair of the Ohio Martin Luther King Holiday Commission here in Ohio. This year's calendar will come out. It should be out right now. If you get a copy of that. Our theme we chose this year went back to one of Dr. King's speeches where he talked about remaining awake in through a great revolution. That's our theme from the King Commission. In that calendar, it goes back and observing that speech whereby he talked about the young man that went to sleep. King George was the king, and come back, George Washington was the president. He slept through that whole entire revolution. And I come by to share with the groups here today, to share with you, let's don't remain awake for that great revolution, but let's don't remain asleep. The revolution that's going on right now in our country, but that all of us are affected by as Americans. You have people that can make money, and this is a good thing that Americans need to do. I tell my wife a lot, she jokes with me, I say, you know, if people get tired of being bumped off of airplanes and tired of paying fees for bags and stuff like that, if American people would just stop for one day or 2 days or 3 days flying, the airlines would clean up their act. If we would stop 1 or 2 days buying toilet paper that Koch brothers sell to us, and don't buy it, tell where all their interests is at, where they got all their money here, and tell the American folks where all their money comes from. Not what they report that you see on the paper today. How they make their millions, and let everybody in America know. And some of us do know, because we read. We're not dumb. We just act like that sometimes. And sometimes we have amnesia. So easy we forget which we come from. That we all are Americans in this great country, and we become great because we take the interests of one, put it together, and make this nation great. And this is what this election is about. This is what this future is about. But when you have a group that can spend money, money that they have spent to vote oppressed that we fought 50 years ago, we got to go back and fight over again. Every year we got the same issue. Every year we got the same thing that we thought we settled in 1965. That's what King was talking about. Don't remain asleep through a great revolution. There's a revolution going on right here today in this state. Not only with ADLAC and all these people that's trying to cut the voter suppression and cut the funds out to veterans, our senior citizens. It's just a way to show you money talks, and anything else you do don't mean a thing. That's not the American way. It took one person to start a revolution in this country. Rosa Parks, for not sitting on the bus, not refusing her seat. So it takes everyone in this room to make a difference in your hometown, in your group. Go back and say, we're going to make a difference. I don't care if Koch brothers, call me any Koch brothers. The scripture has a story that says about the man that we all grew up in the church. Had some church knowledge. I heard this story about the man that said he went out and looked at his fields and saw how many cornfields and acres he had out there. He said, I got small barns, and say, I'm gonna be at ease. I got so much stuff now. I'm gonna build bigger barns. That's what the Koch brothers said. I want more money, as you said, Brother Rockefeller. And that's what the Koch brothers said. That they ain't had enough yet. But then at the end of that story, God Himself speaks and said, "Thou fool." God called the man a fool. I did. The scripture said, "Thy soul is required of thee tonight." So all that stuff you got, you can't take it with you no how. You ain't going nowhere with it. So you talk about making bigger barns, building bigger houses, get big bank accounts, but in the end, you a fool. Because there ain't nothing you can do with it at the end. They ain't going nowhere with you. And that's what we got to put into our American people that's working every day to make themselves proud Americans, are working every day making this country a greater country. not to call him a fool, but he gonna find out he's that anyway. In the end, because I have not yet seen a hearse. I've not yet seen Chase Bank, Huntington Bank follow nobody, no graveyard in Columbus. When they dug that grave, all that account went in with that person. All that possession went in the grave with that. There's two things that happen in this life that we all must go through. When the doctor spank you when you come to this world, your hands cry, say, hey, I'm here. And it tells you when you wave your hand when that doctor spanks you on behind, I ain't bringing nothing in here. And when the undertaker finished with you and pump that embalming fluid in there, he does like Brian said on that, he got your hand there like this. You just looking straight up. I ain't taking nothing out. That should be the statement we tell our people. I brought nothing in, I can't take nothing out. God bless you.